Really appreciate it.
Well, I'm delighted to be here. I'm very happy to see so many young people who are not caught up in all the craziness that we're seeing on some of the college campuses, huh?
Yeah, well, I agree with you. It's encouraging because if you read the news, you only see the kind of crazy young people. You don't realize there's a lot of good ones out there too.
Right. Well, just people who will stop and think for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, that's what America was supposed to be about. The individual and their ability to think freely and do the things that work for them that don't hurt other people.
Yeah.
And somehow we've managed to allow ourselves to get away from that. And, an army of young people who have that philosophy can make a big difference.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually, is America's not just about, taking care of your own and working. It's also about freedom of thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech and freedom of... You have to be able to have beliefs that you can stand up for.
Yeah.
And part of the problem has been that we have a lot of people who have beliefs, but they don't have courage to stand up for them. They'd rather stare at their shoes and hope no one calls them a nasty name. That doesn't work. And if you do that, the other side will always win because they'll be unopposed.
I've been thinking about this a lot because, I was talking to people 2020 after Trump got pushed out, and a lot of people were depressed. You know what I mean? A lot of conservative conferences and so on like that. And I think there's a shift that's happened. You see that there's a lot of energy now. People are riled up. My thought is this. Is people realized that we're not waiting for some king to come and rescue us.
Right.
We're not waiting for some outside force. The American system is about civic engagement.
Right.
It's us taking ownership.
Absolutely. And I think our founders realized that we would eventually get to this point. And that's why they gave us the Constitution that they gave us. And that's why we need to be familiar with it. And particularly the people need to understand the importance of the vote. Yeah. And you can't give that away. You can't take that lightly. And there's so many people who just go into the voting booth and they just look for the name that looks familiar.
Yeah.
They don't really know anything about it. The name could be Satan, And
just put the right letter next to it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Whatever, yeah.
We have to be responsible voters. And then the other thing that's so important is we have to abide by the rules. In 2020, at the last minute, people who had no authority to do so were saying things like the signatures don't have to match, or you can observe, but you have to be way over there on the other side of the room where you can't see what's going on. We don't have to accept that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Dr. Carson, you recently came out and endorsed Donald Trump for president in 2024. It made a lot of headlines, but I know right before that you said a prayer. If you don't mind me asking, what was your prayer? Like, what are you asking God for right now?
Well, to give us the kind of guidance and the kind of leadership to put us back on the path to being one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are not indivisible right now. We're allowing people to divide us on the basis of race, age, religion, gender, income, you name it. And it's very destructive. And if you look at other nations who have undergone radical change, particularly into communist and socialist states, they always divide the population first. Even in China, with Chairman Mao, they said the rich people are the ones who are causing our problem. And they got the students to rise up against the rich. They would go into the rich neighborhoods, destroy their property, rob them, while the police just stood there and watched.
Yeah. I know there's rumors right now that, of course, you ran for president in 2016.
Right.
There's rumors that Trump might take you as VP. Would you do it if he asked you?
Well, right now, I think we have to place all our emphasis on getting Trump in place.
Yeah.
Anything else is a distraction right now.
Yeah. Well, back to the point you're making, though, about getting rid of these divisions. I'd agree. And, I know this is one of the challenges for the country right now is that politically we're deeply divided. Mm-hmm. And there's, I think, not only like a political divide, there's a cultural divide. there's kind of like a deeper ideological divide, maybe
Yes.
even a religious divide we're facing.
Yes.
How do you think we can come together as a nation?
Well, we need to recognize what you just mentioned. In the past, Democrats and Republicans, they actually wanted the same thing. They had different ways of getting there. Now they don't want the same thing anymore. The Democrats want a country that is of, by, and for the government. The Republicans want a government that is of, by, and for the people. So that's why the conflicts are so severe. And, I think we have to really talk about it, because I think a lot of the people on the left, if they really got what they wanted, would be very unhappy.
I think they would.
And they don't realize they're sowing the seeds of their own discontent. And, particularly you look at the media. And the media obviously doesn't know history, because they don't recognize that the first thing communists and socialists do is totally control the media.
Yep.
So they will have no freedom anymore if that's the case.